Hi and welcome to this small video where we are going to show how the new multi-language content filter that we have developed works and how it can help non-technical people deal with multi-language content in Moodle. Okay, so first thing is I'm going to log in as the administrator of the platform so we can install the two plugins. I need to go to the site administration and go to notifications. So it detects the two filters that we can install. The first one is the content filter itself. It works on its own. You don't need the second one. The second one is simply new plugin for the TinyMC HTML editor, where we add additional functionalities for non-technical people to deal with multi-language content tags. Okay, so you can install just the first one. It uses a simplified version of the language tags, but the second one is really interesting, so I'm going to install both. So we go ahead and upgrade the Moodle database, and then we simply continue. Okay, and once this is finished, all the two plugins are installed. In case we install the second one, the one for the TinyMC editor, we can configure a couple of things. We can either enable or disable the plugin dynamically, depending on whether we have the content filter enabled. And there's a second thing, I'll go back to this in a few minutes, where we can add visual styling to the tags that make part of the delimiters of the different languages of our content, and we can add CSS rules to specify how we want to highlight those delimiters. Okay, we can even add special markers for each different language. So I'm just going to leave it disabled, and I'm going to save all the changes. And once we're done, I'm going to enable the content filter. Okay, so I need to go into plugins and go into the filters section, and I click on manage filters, so we can scroll down and look for the multi-language content version 2. Okay, this is the new one, the one we developed. I'm going to enable it globally, and I'm going to enable it just for the content, not for the headings. Okay, so this is now ready. I'm going to go to the home page, and we have a special course that I created so we can demonstrate the functionality of the new filter. Okay, so I'm going to turn editing on, and once we're here, I'm going to just add a new activity that allows me to add some content. I'm going to use a label to keep things simple, and once we have it, this is the syntax that we can use. For example, if we want to add some content that is only visible when we're browsing the content in Spanish, we just need to specify between curly braces the multi-lang special tag plus the language that applies to this particular text. So this text is going to be only available in Spanish. Okay, and then we need to put the closing tag. As you can see, this is very similar to the amlang filter that is already available in the Moodle plugins database. Okay, so if I want to add a second one, for example in French, I keep adding more things, sorry about that, and this is going to be always available because I don't use any language tags. Okay, so thing is the syntax is really simple, and if I save and return to the course, I already installed several different language packs. So by default, the filter only shows the content that is either non-tagged as any special language, or the content that was tagged for a particular language. So right now I have the English version of the site. There wasn't any tag for the English content, so I just get the content that is always available. If I switch to Spanish, which was one of the things that I tagged, oh yeah, my tag is not right, so I need to fix it. So I'm missing an I over here. I'm going to save it again, and then okay, this is now working. So I get my text in Spanish plus the command text, and if I switch to French, obviously I'm going to get the French part plus the command part. Okay, so this is the thing that we can expect from the filter. This is now different for the amlang filter, now different from the traditional filter, apart from a simplified version of the syntax. Okay, so now what happens if my user, I'm going to switch to my profile, I'm going to switch back to English. If I go to my user profile and I edit it, and I make sure that my user is using the tiny MC HTML editor as I'm currently doing. Okay, so I select this one, I update my profile, and then if I'm using this particular HTML editor and I enable the visual styling, the highlighting of the delimiters, for this I have to go to the site administration, to plugins, scroll down to text editors, and go into TinyMC editor, and I click on the multi-language content version 2 link, so I can go back to the settings that we saw as part of the installation. Now, if you remember, we kept this particular setting disabled. I'm going to enable it. I'm going to keep this particular CSS rule. I'm not going to change it, and I'm going to save the changes. Okay, and once they are saved, I'm going to go back to the course, and I'm going to turn editing on, and I'm going to edit the content of the label. And now, as soon as the editor is already ready to be used, as you can see, now the tags for the multi-language content, they are visually highlighted. The highlighting is controlled by the CSS rules. So if I try to edit the tag itself, I cannot do it. It's a single block, so I can use the cursor by using the cursor keys in the keyboard to navigate, and I'm just, as you can see, skipping it. And if I select them with the mouse, I can remove them by clicking on Del key or the erase key. Okay, and there's a second thing that you have probably noticed, and is this particular drop-down menu here. Okay, so if I click on it, I have the list of the languages that I can use in Moodle. So for example, if I look for the French one, okay, so I click on it and I get my content tags automatically added to it. Okay, so this styling is done when we load the content into the editor by applying special markup to it. But when we switch to the source code of the HTML editor, all the styling that we have put into the visual editor is automatically removed, so we can edit the plain text here. This is just more text. Okay, so I'm going to add it by hand. When I save the content by clicking on update, the visual styling is automatically added back. And if I click again to view the source code and either close the window from here or cancel it, the visual styling is kept. And when I save the content, all the visual styling is automatically removed again, and we only get the final text, the one we are interested in showing to the final users. Okay, so if I switch to French, I get the French part plus the common parts. So this works with Firefox, the latest version, both in Linux and Windows. It works with the Google Chrome browser, both in Linux and Windows latest version, and this also works in Windows with Internet Explorer 10, which is the only version that I have available to test, as long as you use the latest development version of Moodle. Now, the plugin works in any version equal to or later than 2.7. But if you're using Internet Explorer, there are a couple of limitations if you don't use the latest development version. Okay, so I'm going to switch to this particular Windows machine where I have Internet Explorer 10 installed, and if I try to use the latest development version, which I call Moodle Head, and I go into the course, I have to log in first. If I turn editing on and I try to edit the content, remember this is the latest development version, the one that is going to be 2.9 in a few weeks. I can see the styling, I can use the drop down menu to tag it with any language. I'm just going to pick this one. Okay, if I switch to the source code view, all the styling is removed. If I close it, I still keep my styling. If I add it again, switch here, I'm just going to keep this as a single line in the final version. Okay, and I update it. All the visual styling is kept. Oops, sorry about that. So there's something strange going on here. Yeah, okay, I'll remove that. No, because this is still there. Okay, now I'm going to update it, and everything's still there. Okay, so no problem with that. I save it, and as we had before, when I switch to other language and there's some content in that language, that content is shown. And if we choose a language where we have no special content for that language, we only get the common text, okay, the common content. So I'm switching back to English. Now I have another Moodle site with Moodle 2.7. I'm going to log in there. Okay, now the plugins have to be installed, so I'm just going to install them quickly, and I'm going to enable the filter, and I'm going to enable the highlighting. I'm going to be a bit faster than before because I'm not going to explain the whole thing again. So I'm going to plugins and filters and manage it. Okay, so I enable it and I go to the home page and enter the course, turn editing on, and I'm going to edit the label. I already had the label there with some content in different languages. Okay, So this is the thing. Whenever we edit some content, the visual highlighting works as expected. If I add some new text and use the menu to apply the language, it works. But when I click on the source code view and I close it, all the visual styling is gone. No matter what I do, if I add some new content here and I click on update, the visual highlighting is gone. There's some problem, we haven't found the solution for this yet, but other than the visual highlighting, everything is working okay. But this is currently not working for Internet Explorer in previous versions of Moodle. So that's it. Thank you for watching.